Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. I'm like, did we get notified that we're live? Yes. Oh, there is a delay. Okay, cool. Hey, hi, I'm Kristen Gutierrez. I'm so excited to be here with a 3 times TEDx author, Greg Plum, who's also a fractional C-level sales ninja and all the things. I will let Greg introduce himself here in a minute, but I wanted to say thank you so much for joining. We go live on these channels every Thursday at 8:30 Pacific, God willing. So if you're here, drop a comment in the chat, and there is a delay. So we will get to them if we can. Otherwise, we'll respond to everything after. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kristen Gutierrez. I am a best-selling author of Be a Better Sales Leader, and I'm a keynote speaker, and I recently took on the role of Vice President, Sales and Marketing. But enough about me. Hi, Greg.
Hey, Kristen. Congratulations on your little, I won't even call it a pivot because it really is built. It's your evolution. Let's call it that.
Thanks. Yeah, step by step by step by step, right?
Exactly.
So Greg and I met, I don't know, a couple months ago, and we've gotten to know each other a lot. But tell us who you are. For my audience who doesn't know you, Greg, tell us who you are.
Sure. Well, thanks, Kristen. Certainly appreciate the chance to chat with you. When I first met you, it has only been a few months, but I feel like it's weird. I think that's one of your gifts. It feels like it's been a long time. So congrats on that, making people
If
feel
that's
that
a good thing.
That is a good thing. Exactly. So I've been in channels, partnership strategy for a long time. So about 23 years. And like everybody else, I got into that role of what they call channel chief, or, heading up partnerships for different tech companies. And then look, I got that phone call one Friday morning. You know how it goes. It's never one that you don't expect it. And then you hang up the phone. You're like, oh my goodness, now what am I going to do? Well, I got one of those phone calls a couple of years ago, and informing me that was my last day with the company. Their PE was involved, and, all bets are off. So I found the concept, or it found me, of fractional leadership. And essentially, I joined forces with a company called Partner Ready. And I've worked with several clients since then on a fractional basis. It's a ton of fun. It's very strategic. I get to learn a bunch of different industries, yet taking the same overarching concept on uncovering revenue streams in maybe unconventional ways, or looking at an ecosystem. We'll talk about ecosystem strategy, but that's kind of what I do. Yeah. Thank you about the TEDx stuff. It's great. It's tons of fun, so much effort, so little pay, but it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, right. We might have to have you back to talk about the TEDx stuff.
Anytime.
Or, spoiler alert, as you know, my friend, but I have a growth community in the background where we get together every Thursday right now and I know it's right after this. We are asking questions and we're learning, and it's for leaders looking to grow beyond their role. And maybe we could have you come in there, not today, but to talk about that, right? There'd be so much value there. But today's topic, new routes to revenue via ecosystem strategy. I don't even know what that means. No, tell it to me. Tell it to me like I'm in first grade or kindergarten, and let's start there.
Sure. So, ecosystem is a buzzword right now. You've heard it being thrown. I'm sure you've heard it being thrown around, but the question is like, okay, exactly what does it mean? Well, you know what? It's not unlike the classic ecosystem you learn about in second or third grade. You walk into the woods and you see basically all of these different organisms are feeding off of one another. They're all necessary to exist. In the tech space, it's not dissimilar, where you have all these different players that are really helping an end user get their job done. So what we talk about with ecosystem strategy, and this could apply to, folks that I work with are both SaaS founders, bringing a product to market, as well as partners that are offering multiple services to their end users. So it just depends. There's many, many different players. I'm not going to bore you with a slide deck, but we're going to just talk concepts right now. And I do have a visual. So think of it this way. Picture this, Kristen.
Okay.
A race car driver, NASCAR, Indy, whatever it is, right? They're riding around the track. Everybody, let's do this through the eyes of a business founder, a software startup, they're looking to get to their customer. They're focused on that customer as that driver, right? They're that entity that everyone's like looking at and trying to get some mind share. Well, when that driver pulls into the pit stop, do you know what happens? Have you ever seen it? You basically get everybody swarming that driver. Let's call it a dozen people like coming out of the woodwork with a specific job, with the goal of getting that driver back on that track as soon as they can, right? Getting their job done. So that's really an ecosystem. So what the strategy here, the concept is looking at your end customer and how do they get their job done? Who's helping them get their job done? What are they buying? When are they buying? How are they buying? Who are they buying from? Who's influencing them? What groups do they belong? Basically, everyone in that zone. So when somebody like a founder comes in and says, I want to build a partner program. Everybody wants a partner program. Why wouldn't you, right? Because it's a variable cost, scalable business model. That's a great way to generate revenue. I think the mistake that I've seen through the years, and I've made it myself many, many times, is looking at it by saying, okay, who do I know? Who can sell my product? The right question to ask is, who is my customer? Who is already selling into my customer? And how do I bolt on? How do I dovetail with them? So essentially, I'm a part of an ecosystem. I am one, or at least I'd like to be. I want to be a part of that. I can go directly to the customer, the driver, or I can go in through those different routes. Any of those others. It could be a consultant. I work with a Salesforce client right now, a software bolt-on. There are different strategies. Yes, you can market to them directly, but you can also market to, it's a sales tool. You can market to sales gurus that teach a methodology. This software can help them help their customer. Or it's in Salesforce, there's a massive ecosystem of partners. You go to them, give them a tool to offer to their customers. So that's essentially how it works.
Okay, this is cool. I love the analogy with the Indy 500. I'm actually from Indiana, right?
Very good.
But tell it, listen, I'm going to back you up, like,
please,
because you said something where you're like, everybody thinks you look at X, but you actually look at Y. I wanted you to, if you know what you said, I wanted you to say that again.
I know what I say because I say it every day. This is the mistake that's made, and the reason I know it is so clearly is because I've made the mistake often. When you say you want to build a partner program, you want to build a channel, right? It's another term for in the tech space. Oftentimes what we do is we look around ourselves. Who do I know that can sell my product? It's the wrong question to ask. It's the wrong lens. The proper lens is the customers. You have to look at it through the customer's lens. Who is already selling to that customer? Doesn't matter who I know. It matters who the customer knows. Once I learn all of those players, all those influencers around that customer, that's going to strengthen my position. That's going to give me my routes to revenue.
Yeah. Okay. So great. Yes. 100%. I think no matter what you're selling, no matter
there's a
what
but coming.
No, there's no but.
Okay,
no, I think no matter what, we leaders, company leaders, have to be thinking about it from our customer lens. And I think it's so common in business that we just become we, us.
It's
right?
an ecosystem, Kristen.
It's an ego. Oh my gosh, an ecosystem. I love that.
Right. And that's not what we do. That's not the ticket to success. It's not. Yeah. It's about the ecosystem, and the right ecosystem is the customers, not ours.
Yeah. But I want to pause there. I have another question, but
sure.
but I want to pause there because you're talking something very specific. But for people in my network who maybe, like, I have tons of tech people in my network, but I'm also in a services-based industry. And so, like, it's just so, like, that's why that analogy was so important. I'm going to have you say the third time. There are really good marketers out there. There are really good salespeople out there. There are really good businesses out there who truly know how to create differentiators from the lens of the customer. But so often we forget to pause and say, what's in it for them versus what's in it for us? And that comes down to even like when you're meeting with customers in their meetings. I mean, like, salespeople are so often starting decks, me. instead of you, right? This is, I know, I can see it in your face. I mean, that's a whole conversation, right?
It is. And it's finding the pain. What pain, and this is sales 101, right? What pain do you solve? Right? You put it out there instead. And there's a school of thought. Let's go into the customer. Let's get them talking. Tell us, where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? It's even more powerful. I met with at a recent CRO event. It was fascinating. The speaker said, it's not asking the question. It's telling them the answer that they know. I know what the pain is. Your pain is this, this, and this. Am I right? Right. It's just it builds that credibility right out of the gate instead of coming in. Okay, tell me where it hurts. So it's just a little bit of a tweak to that mindset.
Yeah. When you're confident in what you sell in the industry that you're in, and you've done it a million times, right? Or you've had a few successes, then that's 100% right. It's like, I can imagine your pain as X, Y, and Z. Is that right?
Well, think about when if you've been unfortunate enough to have to go to a doctor, when you ask it, if they ask you a million questions, that's one thing. But when they ask you maybe one or two questions, and then instantly they're like, oh, is this the case? You automatically feel like they get it. They know exactly what this is. And you feel that level of comfort. That's the same concept.
Okay, cool. So I love it. So say it one more time for the people in the back, and then I'm going to ask you my next question. You got to, because like it's so important, again, in what you do with SaaS and tech companies, but it's important across all industries.
It is. And this, I am talking specifically, this is what the software companies, how they can go to market, but it's also important to all of those players, those partners that are out there that are, managed services providers. And that's probably not going to mean a whole lot to your audience, Kristen. These are folks like outsourced IT, these companies that actually provide services to other companies. Essentially, you have to first and foremost identify your ICP. You have to know who your customer is, your ideal customer profile. Who is that? Once you have that, get to know them intimately, understand all of the influences. As soon as you have those influencers, those are routes to market. You want to get to know them. You want to find out how you can help them better serve their customer. In a nutshell.
Yep. Okay. So back to, sorry, I think there's a delay. You're okay.
I'm with you.
Back to the ecosystem, right? And you're like, here's my question. And so we have to frame it a little, but like, I had to write it down so I wouldn't forget. How do you find out who your customer knows or is buying from? Or how do you find that out? Because you're like, well, it's so simple. You just go to find out. You just go to the people that your customer already knows. But
well, it starts with the customer, right? That's where your discovery process begins, right? Getting to know your customer. And it's almost, I use the word scrutinize your customer. Look at them in detail. Like, how do they get their job? What is their job to be done? How do they get it done? Well, the best source for that is your customer. However, there are tools, believe it or not, there are ecosystem tools that are being built right now. There's software that can help you identify a tech stack that a particular customer might already be using. So there's kind of the keys to the castle. It's almost like the answer key before you go into the customer. So exactly, again, going to them, not just with questions, but with some answers right out of the gate.
Okay. So is that what you help consult businesses on then? Is like, ooh, yeah,
Yep.
Tell us more. Cause I'm like, what is it? Like, yeah.
I can't tell you everything, Kristen. So, I mean, essentially it's getting in what I do is I help with ecosystem strategy. We go in and I try to identify, okay, who is your customer? Now let's go in and let's peel back the layers and let's see everything, their job to get done. Let's find out who they're working with. And then we work on the value proposition. So it's really, and Partner Ready has this concept, value chain of the customer. So it's the value. It's basically, how does a customer get their job done? How can we add value to help them accomplish what they need to accomplish? And usually that's not done in a vacuum, and it's not single threaded. It's multi-threaded. Think of it like, a matrix. Think of your day. Think of all the different technologies that you touch. We're touching one right now with Restream. Right. So, LinkedIn was involved in this. There's there's your software, there's your camera, there's all these different tools that go into doing a single job you don't even think about. So the key is to find out all of those influencers. And you also have to know your competition intimately and know how to position yourself against them. They may be better at you at something. If they are, fine. Know it, embrace it. That's your message you take to market.
Right. I love it. We're also streaming. Let's shout out to YouTube, to Facebook, and to Instagram. So we're streaming.
Okay, see, there you go. You've look, there's just 7 technologies we just threw out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the value chain of the customer, adding value. I mean, definitely like what sets sales reps, what sets organizations apart from others. I just wanted to pause there too. Is there anything else you wanted to add on that topic?
No, I mean, I think the thing to be very clear about is you are a specialist, right? Whoever the founder is or the partner, you have a set thing where you're superpower. The goal here is to find out who you can lock arms with to better serve that customer. Once you've done that and you find, let's say you find a consultant, let's say the Salesforce example, Salesforce consultant, and they have the same ICP that you have. Well, you've just, leveraged your Salesforce exponentially. And it's taken the beauty of channel and partner sales. It's a variable cost, right? So I don't pay anything until I make something, and that is that scalable model. There's a whole other, and we could talk for hours on the challenges of channel and, what you have to do to be effective, about enablement and education and support and all that. But that's a whole different animal. But once you identify the entities that are helping that end user, that customer, and you can find a way to dovetail seamlessly, you make your product better or service, you make that partner entity's service better, you're both serving that customer, and then that partner, they have a whole other base of customers that they can bring you into. So that's the beauty of this system.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, I mean, it's multi-threaded anyway. You were talking about something different, but it's a spider web of connectivity and relationships and deliver right over here. And then, oh my gosh, we have all these other opportunities for you. Listen, yeah, go ahead. Tell me.
Well, the interesting thing about that, what I love about channel, and this isn't specific to ecosystem, I view, you probably get 5 different definitions, but I view channel as a part, is a segment of an ecosystem. But the beauty of channel and a partner sale, in way down that sales funnel, right? The need has already been established. That partner, if you've done a good job educating them, they already know when to pull you in. You're at that point, you just need to be able to prove the value and execute.
Love it. Okay, that's good, because I was going to say, we are running out of time already. Can you imagine that? It goes so fast, these things. So I would say, I know some people have been watching, but there is like a connection issue right now. So there are no comments or questions, but if you are still hanging around, or if you're watching this later, I want to say, comment below. This is streaming to both me and Greg's LinkedIn's and the other channels. So comment below so that Greg can answer your questions, even if it's after the live. But in the interest of time, Greg, what is the 1 or 2 other things you really want to leave us with today?
There is power in partnership. And that's really what this is about. What I would suggest, and I'd love to connect with anybody, grab me on LinkedIn, I welcome the conversation, because quite frankly, my wife is sick of hearing ecosystem. She's sick of the conversations. I have to find somebody else to talk to. So I would be glad to spend some time with people just to understand what the challenges are, or maybe help you understand, how to take this concept and maybe start baby steps, to try to implement this in your own shop.
Yeah. And this is what you eat, breathe, live every day, right? Which is why your wife is sick of it. So you have a website too with lots of content on it. And where is that?
Yep. So the one with the business, I have a couple of websites, but the one that with this business model is Plum UC. It's Greg at Plum UC. That's my email, but plumuc.com. And then gregplum.com is my speaking, my keynote website.
Oh yeah, let's in there. Let's shift it for a second. You opened it. I'm going there. Cool. Tell us about Greg, the keynote speaker, and the 3 times TEDx.
That honestly, it's just a passion, and it's something it didn't hit me until not too long ago. I started teaching and speaking when I was 19 or 20 at my first job. I was like a sales coach for with a big bank. I was a telemarketer, and then was fortunate enough to get off the phones. You always want to get off the phones. Got off the phones, and then I was teaching, and didn't realize it really struck a chord, and it kind of stayed with me through the years. So I've spoken for years and years and years. And when somebody says, well, what do you love? Like it's speaking. That's what I love doing, helping organizations really take this concept. I've spoken about lots of things over the years and different technologies, but to me, it's more around the strategy, the concept of this leveraged approach and new routes to revenue. That's a timeless, regardless of what the technology is, that is a timeless problem. And this whole mindset and this strategy, it's going to endure any changes in tech. So that's what I love to speak about. Either, and I've done this online. We've done academies to companies, startups up in Canada. I just did a session for SAP, for one of the groups I work with. I'm on faculty at CompTIA. So anybody that's going to give me a microphone, I'm going to take it. And just welcome the opportunity to come in and chat about these concepts. And if I do my job well, the audience walks away with new ideas, new routes to new ways to think about their business differently, and actionable steps to start immediately, to start right away to see the impact of this. So that's the goal.
Well, we align there for sure. It's all about giving them something they can implement right away, transform them in their seats, give them a blueprint or whatever it is to take action and start to implement the strategies you've taught from the stage. I love that.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you so much, my friend, for joining us today and educating me on this exciting topic that you have spent your career building a business around. I really appreciate it. I'm sure it was extremely educational for those like me who didn't know anything about it, and also for your network who is just looking for new routes to revenue and looking to better understand the ecosystem. So thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, Kristen. Thanks for the invite. It's good to be with you.